Well, the topic seems to get changed regularly. It was originally green technology and the global economy, which I viewed as license to talk about whatever I thought important enough to talk about. I was struck by the comment made earlier having to do with how in the business one was in, he would wake up every day wondering how his competitors had trounced him overnight. And I've spent about 30 years in exactly that business as an investor in technology, media, and telecommunications. And what we found was that whenever one ran into a disruptive technology, which in the fields I've been in seemed to occur every other day, it provided, while it underscored or undermined, rather, many industries or businesses on the one hand, it created extraordinary opportunity on the other. But in the case of most areas of technology, consumer products and so forth, what you were really looking at were disruptive technologies which made it possible to do things better, faster, and cheaper, or solve problems for a consumer that really represented the demand for the product. Lower prices, faster to market, solving consumer problems, and so forth. And for many, many years, I think what's happened is that while I'll draw let's say, an asymmetrical analogy, if I may, that global warming and what it's doing is really a very disruptive force in the marketplace. The problem, however, has been that it has not really grabbed the attention of the consumer, and the consumer is only today beginning to demand or look for products that embody a green technology. And so the incentive for businesses who are really very short-term oriented in today's societies, the incentive for business really has to come in two ways. On the one hand, it has to come because the government steps in and provides the kind of incentive that the consumer does in other product areas by putting regulations in place that force the private sector to move towards a cleaner technology. Or on the other hand, you need to have a governmental intervention that will provide funding in order to bring to market the technologies and the changes in process and so forth that are important. And I think what we're beginning to see is that there's a great deal of change that's beginning to take place. You look at China's perspective on a sustainable economy, self-sustained, containable economy. You look at the recent EU action with the new regulations which were put in place, and although many criticize them for being not nearly as tight as they should be, the important thing is that 30 countries or whatever came together and actually decided to move forward. And in the United States, in spite of what I will call let's say the forces that deny the efficacy of science that seem to populate some of our politics, a very important event occurred a few weeks ago when the Department of Defense, which is something everybody seems to listen to, basically made the statement that the number 2 threat to the future of the United States was global warming and the failure to act in ways that would address the problem. So I think what we're really looking at today is an inflection point. You're seeing a greater interest on the part of the consumer for products that in fact will reflect a superior, cleaner technology, while at the same time you're seeing governmental forces around the world paying far more attention to it in many forms. I've thought from the very beginning that what we have been doing with Tardistan is a very important indication of the interest of governments and the types of incentives in terms of putting in place a fund such as ours, which allows us to make the kinds of investments in order to help them improve their economy and to improve the state of business within the Tardistan and so forth. So the net of it is that when you look at when the most money is made in private equity, in venture capital, and so forth, it tends to be made in investments that really are reflective of the type of dislocations which have occurred. And, you know, in the trough of a recession, investments tend to turn out very well. At this point in time, the analogy back to what's happening in the environment with the attention that's being paid for it, I think provides an opportunity, whether it's for us and others, to invest in technologies that actually will make a difference, because the demand will be manifested because of the requirements of governments and the incentives provided by other institutions. So with that, you know, do I think it's the right time and opportunity for us? Absolutely, I do. And I hope that what you've seen today convinces you that this is the type of activity that you too wish to engage in. Thank you.